Also exempted is the absence of mind. The absence of mind, like being insane or being asleep, talking in your sleep. And sometimes being qaribu ahdin bil Islam, newly acquainted with Islam, one would be excused from some blasphemy. He whom neither his family nor anyone else taught the matters of the religion, except the two Shahadahs. That's all he knows, for example. Whether he lived like that for a long or a short time. One who is newly acquainted with Islam, or he's like that. The one who's newly acquainted with Islam is an example. The significance of the one who's newly acquainted with Islam, of naming him in particular, making him the example, is that this is the one that we conceive easily about him deep ignorance of the religion. He's a Muslim, but it's easy for us to conceive about this Muslim deep ignorance about the religion because he's newly acquainted with Islam. He might not even know about the angels or paradise or hell. Very important fundamental matters. This one is an example, and whoever is as ignorant as that is like him. So what if you're dealing with someone who's not a new Muslim? Then you have to gauge his issue. Is he ignorant like a new Muslim? Then you give him the judgment of that new Muslim. In this case we're talking about here. He whom neither his family nor anyone else has taught the matters of the religion except the two Shahadahs. That's how ignorant he is. Whether he lived like that for a long or a short time. So that means he doesn't have to actually be a new Muslim. If he denies any of the obvious religious matters like the angels and paradise and hell, he is not charged with blasphemy, but is taught. We tell him, no, don't deny the angels or paradise or hell. Those are pivotal matters of the creed, fundamental matters of the creed. We cannot deny them. Believe in them and don't deny them. We teach him. Whoever has not heard many religious judgments and thus does not know them, even if he lived among Muslims, is like a new Muslim. Even if he lived among Muslims, yani even if he was in a Muslim society. How could you conceive that? Like, imagine someone is in a Muslim society, he never goes to the masjid, his family doesn't teach him, he doesn't go to any sheikh to learn. And so he's ignorant, like a new Muslim. Then he's like a new Muslim. And we have previously mentioned that the one who denies an attribute of Allah that is known by the mind, like the 13 attributes, even without knowing a Quranic text or a hadith, is not excused for being ignorant about that. So remember here, for this one we're talking about this newly acquainted with Islam person, this person who is newly acquainted with Islam. Remember here, you're taking notes now and you're focusing on the lesson. 3 things that even this one is not excused for. What are those 3 things? 1, belief in Allah. So if he likens Allah to the creations, or if he denies the attributes of Allah, then he's a kafir, even if he were newly acquainted with Islam. 2, having a bad belief about any prophet. If he had a bad belief about any prophet whatsoever, whomsoever, he's a kafir with no excuse. And 3, having a bad belief that Islam is the right religion, the only right religion. Like what? Like if he says Christians and Jews will go to paradise, even if he's newly acquainted with Islam, and he says Christians and Jews will go to paradise, what's his judgment? He committed kufr. He's not excused here, because that statement means that their religions are accepted by Allah. And that would mean that Islam is not the only correct, valid, accepted religion. And such a belief has no excuse even for someone who's newly acquainted with Islam. You said, what is considered a new convert? So I just told you here, when we say Qaribu Ahdin bil Islam, newly acquainted with Islam, we're talking about a person who is ignorant, is being deeply ignorant about the religion is conceivable. If you just took your Shahadah yesterday or last week, for example. This one, his ignorance about the religion is conceivable, his deep ignorance. Like, imagine if someone didn't know what does red light mean. Imagine you met a person who doesn't know what red light means and what green light means. Wouldn't you be astonished? Say, what? Or have you been living under a rock? How deeply ignorant you are. It baffles you. It surprises you because you didn't conceive that someone is that ignorant. What if you told you, oh, I just came from the Amazon jungle. I just got off the boat yesterday. I was in the Amazon jungle running around with a loincloth. You say, oh, okay, now now I see why you're so ignorant about this here. So like that, some things very clear in religion, known, famous, and you met someone who doesn't know that. He doesn't know that drinking wine is haram, or that the 5 prayers are obligatory, or that angels exist, or that there's paradise or hell. You would be astonished at a Muslim who's that ignorant. How could you not know that? I just became a Muslim, he says, yesterday or last week. Okay, now that's conceivable. Okay, so what if someone, though, was not new? What if someone was not new? He says to you, I took my Shahada 20 years ago. Or he says to you, I was born as a Muslim. But you found him this ignorant. So you compare that one to who's a new Muslim. You might say to him, even if you took your Shahada 20 years ago, you're ignorant like someone who just became a Muslim. So I'm not going to deem you as a kafir. There's many, many, many things you don't know. Your ignorance is like a person who just became a Muslim. So don't say that. That's wrong. That's against the religion. The issue is that what is this person denying here? We're talking about blasphemy. So what is this person denying? He's denying something that all the Muslims know. Why is he doing that? Because he's a new Muslim and he's so ignorant? Then let's teach him. What if he's so ignorant but he's not a new Muslim? Then he's like a new Muslim, so still we're going to teach him. And we're not going to call him a kafir. So that one who's newly acquainted with Islam, that one is like a measuring stick for us. That's the one that we're going to compare someone to see if he's excused or not. Is that clear? Wa subhanallahi wa bihamdihi.